Hey, Thrive Loud fans. If you've been listening, we have been running this special feature on Thrive Loud called Elevating the Brilliant Minds of Women. It has been an incredible journey connecting with 27 unbelievable women in different businesses, industries, areas of passion that they really care about, sharing their story and how they truly thrive loud. Head on over to thriveloud.com or success.com and check out the special feature. We've packaged all 27 episodes into one easy to access location so you can connect and check out all these great women who are truly thriving each and every day. All right, let's get on to our episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have been to the Great Wall of China. I have seen the pyramids of Egypt. I even witnessed a grown man satisfy a camel. But never in all my years as a sportscaster have I witnessed something as improbable, as impossible as what we've witnessed here today. It's Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond.
I don't need to teach you to be more like me. I need to teach you to be more like you.
Longtime listener and a huge fan.
Lou, I am tremendous.
And the more I'm plugged from technology and people, the more I can serve people with technology.
What you're standing for with connection, I think it's the key to everything.
You're just an amazing breath of fresh air for sure.
Lou, you're a diamond in the rough, my man.
Because for me, if I'm not living high energy, I'm surviving and I want to be thriving.
Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
I love it.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond. Today on Thrive Loud, we have nutrition-focused entrepreneur. After battling decades with nighttime cravings, he founded Nightfood, sleep-friendly ice cream. We got to hear more about this story, so I'm just going to get right into it. Thrive Loud listeners, Sean Folkson. Sean, how are you today?
Great, Lou. Thanks so much. Very happy to be here.
Okay. So a lot of us love to eat late at night.
Yes.
And I think you have a story that it was something that was a part of your life for a very long time. Do me a favor. Catch our listeners,
right?
Yeah. Well, we'll catch our listeners up to speed here.
Sure.
Tell us about how this whole idea came to be and maybe some of the things that you've been dealing with your life. And I want to hear more.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, like you said, like many people, nighttime snacking is a part of my existence, and it's been a difficult thing to navigate for many years. I didn't know a lot of the things that I say on this interview and this discussion, this conversation, are things I didn't know at the time when I struck out to start the company. I just knew that there was a problem. But what we now know is that nighttime cravings are, biologically hardwired. It's a survival mechanism. It's an outdated survival mechanism. By just like bears in the fall before hibernation, they gain hundreds of pounds. They eat everything in sight. They switch to a fattier diet because that's a survival mechanism. By storing calories, by storing energy in the form of calories, in the form of fat inside of our bodies, it increases the chances that you're going to be able to survive when the fast is over and you need to go out and get more food. Right. So I didn't know any of that at the time. All I knew was that even when I was able to make good, healthy choices during the day, after dinner, all hell would break loose. And if there was anything in the house that wasn't nailed down, I was eating it. And when I started actually to switch to trying to eat something healthier, I then had energy bars in the house. I was a single guy. All I had was energy bars. I didn't really do grocery shopping. And so what would happen is after dinner, I might have an energy bar at 9 o'clock. Then I wouldn't be able to get to sleep. I would have another one at 11 or 11:30. I would have another one at 1 or 2 in the morning. And I was eating these Myoplex bars, these workout bars that were pre-workout bars. And they were each, I think, like 300 calories. And it was just amazing. And I got to the point where I said, why or what should I be eating? If I'm going to be snacking at night, what should it be? Because there's got to be something that's, optimal or better. And I looked online and there was no such thing. There was plenty of tips and tricks, right? Plenty of articles, plenty of magazines talking about how to beat nighttime cravings. But there was nothing that I could buy and put in my cabinet or put in my fridge. And I thought, wow, that's really, really strange. And again, all the stats I have now, I didn't have then, but what we now know is that over 85% of us snack regularly at night. Cookies, chips, candy, and ice cream are the most popular choices. And most people know that they shouldn't be doing it, but they do it anyway. And for me and for most people, it's decades. If it's not every night, it's 3, 4, 5 nights a week for years and years and years on end with no end in sight.
Okay. So, and it's interesting because I keep thinking about my own personal dieting habits. We eat dinner a little bit on the later side than most. And there's always that discussion of, do we want a dessert or whatnot? And I'm not necessarily that late night craving person, but I know many people are. Yeah. And I'm remembering my college days. I certainly remembered. Yes. I certainly was. But I wanted, before I go down where the avenue you came up with a potential solution that can help people, from a health perspective, for those that eat that heavier craving, or even as you just shared, those power bar type things at night, I'm guessing biologically, maybe that's not the best thing for us, or is it?
Right.
Eating late at night.
Well, so there certainly are multiple schools of thought, but I think what all experts or people who perceive themselves to be experts have put out there is that, right, eating something big, laden with calories, fat, sugar, especially before bed, is understood to not be the right thing. So even people who might recommend doing a 1 meal a day program, something like that, you typically wouldn't want to do it within an hour or two of bedtime. I don't think there's anybody that thinks that eating a ton of heavy stuff before bed is a good idea. There are people who think that, you should go at least, 3 hours or so before bed without eating. And then there's another school of thought that says, look, if you're hungry, it's okay to have a snack. It needs to be the right thing. The when is not as important. And what we know in nature is that hunger is linked to activity, and satiety is linked to sleep, right? You see, after the kill, the lions, they'll eat whatever, and then they just lay down and they take that big nap. Babies, they will feed and then go down for their nap. That is the cycle of life. To try to think that, it's going to be easy to fall asleep and get good quality sleep when your body is hungry is just against nature.
Right. I'm laughing right now because our listeners can't see it, and maybe you can, but my dog is fast asleep right over my shoulder down here, and he just had breakfast. So yes, exactly. Every time he eats, he goes to sleep. So
right.
I'm totally with you. So, okay. And this is key because people are looking to snack. All right. How did this idea for Knightfood come to be, and how did you piece all this together?
Well, so yeah, I mean, look, back when, if I would have looked online and there would have been a power bar PM or something like that, that probably would have been the end of the story, and I would have gone on another path. But there wasn't such a thing, and I didn't have any experience in the space, so I just kind of let it go. I figured, well, somebody else will do it, and I'll be one of their best customers. And every couple of years, I would see another article about sleep and the importance of sleep. I started paying really careful attention with my diet. I noticed if I ate sushi, for instance, I would have very vivid dreams. I noticed that when I was younger and I would drink alcohol heavily, I could sleep until 11 a.m. or noon. And then at a certain age, it was very early 20s, I noticed that if I drank heavily, even if I was up, out in college, like you said, Lou, I could be out until 4 a.m. drinking, eating a slice of pizza before I go to sleep. And I'd be up wired at 7 or 7:30 when you would expect to be able to sleep for hours more. So I started noticing these patterns. And at some point I realized that this nighttime nutrition was going to have to be a thing. Knowing that everybody eats, knowing that most people snack at night, knowing that everybody sleeps and everybody just about wants better sleep, there had to be a bidirectional link between nutrition and sleep that could be served in the marketplace for the consumer. I didn't know how to do it. There did seem to be consensus among sleep experts and a lot of nutrition experts that said, if you're going to snack at night, here's generally what you should avoid. Here's generally what you should do. And we started with that as the guidance, and we launched nutrition bars because I was a bar guy. That's what I used to like to eat.
Right.
And what we found was people were really fascinated by the concept of a better, healthier, sleep-friendly nighttime snack. But people did not want to put down their tub of ice cream and their spoon and switch to a nutrition bar. And probably most of the people that were willing to do that had already made healthier choices. So, and we banged our head against it for years with bars. maybe we need to change the formula. Maybe we need to change the packaging. Maybe we need to change how we're marketing it. And ultimately, we realized that it's really hard to get people to move away from a pint of Ben & Jerry's into a nutrition bar. It's a lot easier to get people to move from a pint of Ben & Jerry's into a pint of Knightfood. So that's when we launched the ice cream, the whole world opened up. I mean, we've been on the Today Show. We've been on Rachel Ray. We've been featured in the Wall Street Journal and USA Today and Fast Company. And just, because it's ice cream and it's sleep. And I'm guessing that's what made you so fascinated.
Well, it absolutely did. And this is where I want to jump in.
Yeah.
Share with the listeners, what is in sleep-friendly ice cream?
Sure. So over the last few years, we've seen healthier ice cream brands. Well, we've seen healthier snacks in lots of categories, and they've stolen billions of dollars in market share from the legacy brands. But a few years ago, an ice cream brand called Halo Top came up. They kind of took the world by storm. I'm guessing most people are familiar with Halo Top. And so from a nutritional profile, there's two main components to what makes a product sleep friendly and what makes Knightfood sleep friendly. The first is from a macronutrient standpoint, and also there's addition by addition, and then there's addition by subtraction. Okay. So helping from a sleep friendly standpoint, we've got, compared to Ben & Jerry's, we've got less sugar, like a third of the sugar. We've got less fat. We've got fewer calories. We've got more protein. We've got more prebiotic fiber. So those things are generally healthy from a macronutrient standpoint. And then we've got added minerals and vitamins as recommended by our sleep and nutrition experts. So there's additional calcium, magnesium, which is proven to help with relaxation and has a calming effect, zinc, vitamin B6. Now, we're always researching. There's always new possibilities for ingredients and what we can do. In fact, it was announced last week that Unilever, which most people know is the world's largest ice cream company, largest by far, they just announced that they are working with a company out of Australia that does research into the gut microbiome. And they're looking at how does what's happening in the gut impact sleep, and how can we affect that nutritionally? So here's the world's largest ice cream company and they're saying, look, we want to help people sleep better, and we're going to start with asking the nutritional question. So, what we've done so far, and there's ingredients that in 6 months we may be formulating into our products that we're researching right now. So the research is always going to be ongoing. We are not a brand that hangs ourselves on, there's brands that are chia brands or pomegranate brands. We are about night food. We're about nighttime snacking. We're about sleep. And as the research evolves, look, if a definitive study came out tomorrow that said, hey, everybody thought magnesium was great for sleep, but it turns out it's awful, well, we're going to have to reevaluate our formulation. So it's an ongoing process.
So I do love this, by the way, because we've had a whole bunch of guests on the program, and a lot of even thought leaders stressed on gut health, which is obviously literally launching up in such an important part. So the fact that you're playing in this space is kind of fun, let alone you're playing in a flavorful space.
Yes.
But before we get to all the literally the chocolate nuts and pieces that we could be eating to make ourselves talk about the deliciousness, we'll talk about that. I'm curious to know, from a business point of view, launching a food brand is very challenging for anyone that's ever thought about doing that. There are so many regulations, different countries you have to deal with, all the components of putting this together. In your specific world, this is an overwhelming and exhausting and a very crowded space, by the way. There's a lot of ice cream, as you've said, that's out there. Share with the listener, I guess, what that journey's been like in getting Knightfood launched as an entrepreneur, because this is a challenging space but also a really cool niche. So I think that there's something in this. There's something there, as I love to say.
Yeah, there definitely is. Well, look, I imagine if we launched, Sean's Delicious Ice Cream, it would be a very different path if we're trying to compete on just yumminess, right? Because how do you differentiate? There's a million of those. I mean, we're rolling into Walmart very soon. We are already in divisions of Kroger and Albertsons and H-E-B, and that's based on our differentiation. It's based on the fact that what we're doing is unique. Yeah. It's still very crowded. It's still very difficult. It's expensive. But if you're not doing, if you don't have an angle if you don't have a way in, if you don't have a reason, that somebody should be doing business with you, I think in any business, whether it's ice cream or anything, you've got to find that, and you've got to launch and lean into that. So it's definitely been difficult. Now, one thing that's interesting that we're doing is we're also in a test. We got contacted recently by one of the leading global hotel brands.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, and we were making a big push into hotels when COVID hit, actually. Look, if you've traveled at all, even a year and a half ago before COVID, almost every hotel these days has a little store in the lobby. Most of them sell ice cream. We've got about 15,000 stores in the US selling ice cream in hotel stores. I think we're going to be in all of them because of what we're doing is so unique. So, when you have something that's unique, it can often also find its own path. So in addition to being in, Walmarts and Kroger and all these other places, I think we're going to find a great home in the hotels. And that's because we created something to be different. I never would have just created an ice cream because, my grandmother had a great ice cream recipe. And there's lots of people that do those kinds of things entrepreneurially. I think that strategically, and they've got a much tougher path. And for me, the odds probably wouldn't be there for me to justify the investment of my entire life, my entire professional life. But everybody's driven by different things.
Let's do this, Sean. I want to give the listeners a perspective of Knightfood. How long has it been around, and where are we today? Just give the quick bullet point growth for think of those who are not only thinking of it as we'll get to what the product is. See, I'm leaving a little bit of an edge for them to get hungry, but I really want them to think about the business of what you've done so far.
Yeah. So we launched, the company started publicly trading several years ago when we were just doing bars, and people would invest based on the idea that, oh my God, these guys are creating, this is going to be $1 billion category. And I certainly believe that. And I think a lot of people also believe it. But in terms of really the company as people perceive it today, the ice cream launched just a little bit more than 2 years ago. And, this fiscal year, which is going to end June 30th, we believe we're going to surpass $1 million in gross sales here in this fiscal year that we're in. The next year, which starts July 1st, where we're going to be in Walmarts already. And we're currently in about 800 supermarkets, and then we're going to be rolling into lots of hotels. We think it's just going to start growing really fast now that we've gotten our messaging figured out a little bit. We've got our brand new packaging, that we're manufacturing right now and has just started to ship to retailers in the last couple of weeks. And we just think it's going to be very exciting. But about 800 stores, we've been around 2 years. And, I think by this time next year, we're going to be ready to roll into many, many thousands more stores and hotels. Love it.
I love peeling back a little bit of a layer as an entrepreneur, following his passion and literally delivering passion by the pint to many potential customers out there who get hungry late at night. You've picked your passion, you're thriving, and you're managing this business, which means on most days you're thriving. Sean, when you're a little off your game, and you need that little boost and kick me up or a little bit of a late night snack, what practice do you seek, or what individual do you seek out to get yourself back on the thriving track?
I just really, it's funny, you probably have noticed the thread. So a lot of times, you might ask questions about the product or about the ice cream. And I always go back to this, to the existing behavior that's out there. And so anytime I feel off track, anytime I feel like I'm moving down the wrong path, I just get back to the fact that what I've always called the inevitability of the category. There's times I doubt myself. Look, I've made mistakes on this path, but I identified something in the universe, and I was mentioning this to my wife the other day because, look, we were contacted by Walmart. We didn't contact Walmart. Yeah. We were contacted by the hotel chain. We were contacted by one of the leading food and beverage companies in the world. And I said to her the other day, we were enjoying lunch on the balcony, and I said, is it amazing? I said, I'm the only guy in the universe that thought about this problem. I said, this is clearly going to be $1 billion category. This is after we saw the news about Unilever doing the gut sleep research. I said, this is clearly going to be $1 billion category. I said, is it amazing? Am I the only one that was, had enough vision to see it, was crazy enough to even do something about it, and then persistent enough to stick with it? There's a tremendous amount of strength that I gained from that. And in times of doubt, I think I just go back to the fact that things are aligned, and I tapped into something pretty powerful here. So whatever is going on in the moment, I can make it through.
I like that. Let's do this, because this is going to be a fun plug section. What I want you to do is share with the listeners all the places people can learn about Knightfood. And I want you to share the types of, I'm looking behind you. I've got he's got a lovely little visual screenshot, folks, of all the different sleep-friendly flavors from Knightfood. Right. Add that into your pick mix. We will put it in the show notes, but it always gets more engagement when they hear it from you. Sure.
So people can find us in the stores, of course. Let's start there, right? That's where the rubber meets the road. We're in Harris Teeter, which is a division of Kroger, throughout the Mid-Atlantic area, down through the Carolinas. We're in Shaw's and Star Markets, which is an Albertsons division up in New England. Jewel Osco is a major Albertsons division in Chicagoland. Central Market is in all the major cities in Texas. Lowe's Foods in the Carolinas. Rouse's Markets down around the Gulf Coast. So that's retail, and we're rolling into Walmarts. We haven't yet announced the regions and the number of stores and the flavors. The flavors that we have, each store has different flavors. I'm going to run them in order. Full Moon Vanilla, Midnight Chocolate, After Dinner Mint Chip, Cold Brew Decaf, which, yes, really is made with decaf, Cookies and Dreams, Milk and Cookie Dough, Cherry Eclipse, which is like a Cherry Garcia, cherry ice cream and cherry chunks with chocolate chips, Bed and Breakfast, which is maple ice cream with waffle chunks. Ooh. And then our newest flavor is called Pickles for Two. It really is pickle flavored ice cream. And it was something we launched because we are the official ice cream of the American Pregnancy Association.
Oh, that's amazing.
People can learn more, right? I mean, that's what I'm saying about you need to create an angle.
Yeah.
And we didn't go into it thinking about that. What we noticed was that we saw pictures of pregnant women on Instagram with the pint of Knightfood on their belly saying, this really is great for my cravings. It's healthier. It's better. And we researched, and those little decisions that we made, the more fiber, the more protein, the less sugar, the less fat, the extra magnesium, the calcium, the zinc, the vitamin B6. What we found out was so many of those things align with what is actually recommended for pregnancy. And so, that was a great opportunity for us. People can learn more about the product at nightfood.com. They can click and learn all about the flavors. From an investor standpoint, we are publicly traded. We've got, as of February of last year, we had over 5,000 investors. I believe we probably have over 7,000 by now. Right. Those people can go to ir.nightfood.com, learn about the opportunities, look at our press releases, our public filings, and all those things. Social media-wise, people can find me on LinkedIn. And our socials as a company is facebook.com/Knightfood. And on Instagram, it's The Real Knightfood.
Love it. And you'll also get a chance to look at the artwork here for this episode, yes. Listeners. You'll
look
see
at all the scoops.
All the different scoops, and they have like night monsters, if you would, or like,
it's really good stuff, Lou. I mean, it's amazing. People tell us that it's the best lower calorie, lower fat ice cream that they've ever had. And, we had the benefit of not going first and seeing what the other companies had done. And, we're really proud of, look, if it doesn't taste good enough, nothing else really matters,
That's right. Good point. That being said, Sean, you want to go down Fun Street with me here on Thrive Loud?
Let's do it.
All right. First of all, we have a little bit in common here. Share with the listeners what you shared with me was your all-time favorite movie.
Is it really yours as well? Shawshank Redemption.
It's like top 3. I've got it. It's for another podcast. We'll talk about that. But
I was trying to decide between Shawshank and A Few Good Men. So that was a good one too. Yeah.
Why does Shawshank connect so much with you?
I've always been one of my biggest. I shouldn't say fears, because I guess it's not likely to happen. But I always wondered how people go through people that are wrongly convicted of serious crimes or wrongly accused of things that they're innocent of. How does that carry with you over decades? I can only imagine what it must be like. And that was, I had that nagging concept in me before Shawshank ever came out. So when I saw the movie, it just really resonated with me. Obviously it's a great story and it's told very well and the character development is great, but that and you never know if Andy did it or not. I don't think, in my opinion, it's unclear. I know there's people who believe that he did and people who believe that he didn't, but that idea of how do you live your life if it's taken away from you under those kinds of circumstances is very powerful to me.
Very cool. We're going to do the speed round here.
All right.
On
I can
Fun
be fast.
Street, and this is definitely going to be good. What I want you to do is I want the first thing that comes to your mind. These are things that lift you up, make you feel good, generally make you thrive. You ready?
Let's go.
A song you love to hear or that pumps you up.
Song I love to hear, Cigarette Daydreams by Cage the Elephant.
Favorite food that's not a dessert?
Sushi.
Favorite dessert, caveat, that isn't night food? We'll get to that.
Brownies.
Your favorite night food flavor?
Mint chip, after dinner mint chip.
I was going to say that's where I would lean to, by the way. An activity you wish you did more of?
Golf.
An activity you wish you did less of?
Video games.
If I could snap my fingers and you, Sean, could go anywhere in the world, where are you?
Probably Alaska.
Sean Folkson, Knightfood. What a great story. Great entrepreneur. I'm behind you on this. And I'm also got to go check these out on the aisles and might be able to connect you to a few cool supermarket relationships that we have. We're going to talk about that offline here.
That would be great. And we got to get you some ice cream, Lou.
That's what I'm thinking. And if you're going to hit me, I want that bed and breakfast thing and the mint chip, because that's where I'm leaning. Those two sound absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I was a kid, my brother would always eat mint chip, and I always thought it was gross, my older brother, and I probably went like 40 years without ever trying mint chip. It was not something for me. And when we went to the lab to develop the flavors, and I tried mint chip for the first time in decades, I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. So yes, it is amazing.
Sean Folkson, thanks so much for coming on Thrive Loud today.
Thank you, Lou.
And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep thriving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Head on over to Spotify, Good Pods, or wherever you get your podcasts, and subscribe and listen to all of our incredible episodes. Follow Lou at Thrive Loud everywhere on social media, and head on over to thriveloud.com to connect directly to Lou and learn how you and your business can thrive loud too. Thanks for listening.